Parshiot, Vayakhel, Pekudei. In Parashat Vayakhel, the Torah begins to tell us that Moshe assembles everybody, Vayakhel. It's a very unique language to assemble people. We could have used other words. Ukahal, right. What's the reason why the Torah uses this word, Vayakhel Moshe, Kol Adat, Bnei Israel, to speak to them, he assembled them? Because in Parashat Kitisa, what happened? Vayikahel ha'am al Aaron to make the egel. Over there, the word is also used, a similar terminology, that the people assembled to do what? To do an avon, to do an avera, to commit a sin. Right? So this is a tikkun, then Mishkan, that they're about to build, right? They're about to assemble to make their donations, their contributions. This is Zeh le'omar Zeh. The Kabbalah, there's something called Teshuvat HaMishkal. Teshuvat HaMishkal means an equal weight Teshuvah. Somebody, let's say, who ate non-kosher food. The Teshuvah HaMishkal for that, besides, of course, asking Hashem for forgiveness, would be to fast, to deprive himself from pleasures or food. And it was to correct what he did, which was what? To ingest into his system nevelot utrefot, things that are not kosher. So now he has to clean himself, right? So that would be Teshuvat HaMishkal. In other words, you did something, you need to repair it in the same or similar way as the avon. In this case, Vayakhel Moshe Kol Adat Bnei Israel is a tikkun for Vayikahel ha'am al Aaron, to make the egel, to build the egel. Okay? So that is why this language is being used over here. Now, the purpose of building the Mishkan and the giving of the instructions immediately to start working is because in the head of the Avodah Zarah it says Saru Maher, right? They moved away quickly from the mitzvot. So the rabbis tell us when a person does Avodah Zarah, and I explained it on Shabbat, it moves him immediately away from Judaism, very quickly. A person can commit an avon today. He's still Jewish, right? He can commit something tomorrow, Halilah. He's still Jewish, but a person who goes and worships idols, he's removing himself completely, very quickly, almost immediately. He drops everything. It's like he denies everything. Right? Over here, there's a need to bring them back quickly as well. Why? Because the Kabbalah says that the more you leave an avon unrepaired, the more a problem is not repaired, the worse it gets. And you know that from other things.
It becomes easier and easier next time.
If you leave things in disrepair, they become worse and worse and worse. It becomes more difficult to fix later, right?
Yeah.
And you have to replace the whole thing. You can't repair it anymore. So, of course, the Kabbalah here, there was a great need to repair this immediately. There should, first of all, not be a category, there should not be an accusation against them. And second of all, it should be easily repaired, not to leave it forever. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives them instructions in how to build a Mishkan, plus he reminds them the mitzvah of Shabbat. What is the idea of Shabbat? Well, it's like I mentioned on Shabbat, that just like Avodah Zarah takes one away quickly, Saru Maher, the same way as Shabbat brings somebody back quickly. In other words, if one accepts upon himself to keep the Shabbat properly, the koach of the Shabbat is strong enough to bring him back quickly. So that is why there's a need to mention again, to remind them, the mitzvah of Shabbat over here. Through the Shabbat, a Jew is reunited with his Creator. Alright, another point that we mentioned also on Shabbat was what the Chafetz Chaim says, why a person who keeps Shabbat, like he keeps the entire Torah, a person who is Mehalel Shabbat, as though he's Mehalel Kol Torah Kolah, because of the Midrash. There's a Midrash that says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I have a gift to give you, my treasure house. A matana. What's the name of that matana? It's Shabbat. It's a very special gift. And our relationship with Hashem is like a chatan and kala, like a bride and groom. And a woman, a kala, recently engaged, who gives back the matanot to her future husband. What is she saying? I have no more interest in this. The engagement is broken. Giving back the gifts is a terrible thing. Right? And that's what happens when people break up. So the Chafetz Chaim says, when a Jew gives up the Shabbat, he's like the Kala, the bride giving back the gifts to the Chatan. I'm not interested in this anymore. People have fallen and have become distant from Judaism over years. And I always like to explain it as follows. It doesn't happen overnight. For example, what's the first thing a Jew will stop doing? The first that you can think of, the easiest one to stop doing. No, miracle, mitzvah.
The food that you were doing, and then you stopped doing.
What's the first thing a Jew would drop? The easiest thing for him to drop. The first thing. No. The first thing. The kippah. Why? It's not written in the Torah. It's our tradition, but it's not written in the Torah. And there's pressures outside. People see him, he's embarrassed. They all think he's Jewish, anti-Semitism. Regardless of the excuse, it's the easiest thing to remove. What comes next? This Jew has removed the kippah. He's sitting at work and he's going to eat his sandwich. So he's got to make a blessing. And he says, well, how can I make a blessing without a kippah? It doesn't make sense. So he says, you know what, I don't have to make a blessing. It's also not written in the Torah. So he stops making blessings. What happens after that? After he stops making blessings, what happens after that? After that, he stops putting on tzitzit. Why? It's hypocrisy, he says. I don't make berakot. I don't wear a kippah, so I should wear a tzitzit. It's hypocritical. I'm not a hypocrite. So he stops putting on tzitzit. Nobody notices that anyway, right? What comes after that? This is not necessarily in this order, but approximately. What happens after that? He starts going to a non-Jewish restaurant. He doesn't eat not kosher food. Only salad and fish, of course. It's a business meeting. What can I do? I can't say no. It won't look right. So he goes and has fish and salad. What happens after that? They tell him, "What do you want? Don't you want to taste this? It's shrimp, the best, lobster, crab, very special. You've never tasted it. Why don't you try it? Okay, I'll try it. Right? But if he tries it once, he tries it and he puts it into his system. The metamtem et halev. Right. Metamtem et halev. It blocks his heart. He stops going to minyan. He stops doing a lot of things. And eventually he stops keeping Shabbat. And one after another. Tefillin. Little by little. Okay? Once a person stops keeping Shabbat, he has left everything. So the Torah tells no, he's not lost. Nobody's lost. Everybody can come back. And we're going to talk about it later. But the fact is that the way to bring him back is for him to start keeping the Shabbat. The Shabbat reunites him with his Creator. He rests. He has the time to reflect on his life. He stops working. Life is not only about work. People work. They don't have time to think. Shabbat gives the person the time to think and to reflect about life, what he's doing here, to spend more time with his family. Shabbat Shabbaton Hashem. And that is an opportunity for him to be Choser B'Tshuvah. The Shabbat will bring him back to Hashem B'Tshuvah. Now, here in this pasuk of Shabbat, it says, Sheshet Yamim Te'aseh Melacha, you should do your work. V'yom HaShvi Yeh Lachem, Kodesh. Shabbat Shabbaton Lashem. In other words, 6 days a week belong to you. You do your work. The seventh day belongs to Hashem. What's the need to emphasize that the day of Shabbat belongs to Hashem? So there's a beautiful mashal. There was once an individual who went far away from his hometown to do business, to live in a faraway place, and he was many years away from his home and from his family, and he was very eager to find out what's doing in his town. But nobody came that way from his town. People from his town never came. It was far away. Finally, there was a poor beggar who he recognized that he was from his town. And finally, he arrived in his town, a beggar to collect money. He says, okay, let me speak to him. Let me ask him. He was very happy to see somebody from his town. And he invites him over to his house and starts asking him about how's my family doing, how's my cousins doing, how's these relatives doing, how's these people doing. Says, sir, I don't have time for this. I came to make money here. Please don't bother me. I don't have time to spend with you. I'm going to lose, all this time that I could be making a lot of money. He says, how much money do you think you're going to make already? He says, well, I think I could make today $25, $35, whatever he said. He says, you know what? I'll give you the money. Whatever you think you can make today, I'll give you. Just sit down and talk. I have a lot of questions to ask. He says, fine. He starts talking. After a few minutes of talking, he says, you know what? I'm very tired. I want to go and take a nap. Can you please give me a place to sleep? How dare you think about taking a nap on my money, on my heshbon? I'm paying you to stay up, right, to talk. So you're thinking of taking a nap right now and going to sleep and taking it easy? I'm paying you. I'm paying you for this time. Right. So the rabbi tells the same thing is with the Shabbat. The neshama, the soul, departed from Kisei HaKavod, came down from heaven, down here, very, very far away, right? A whole week we do work. We don't hear any news. Hashem doesn't hear from us, right? Hashem doesn't know from us because we're busy with our work, right? Comes Shabbat, Hashem finally meets up with us. You know what? Sit down. I want to talk with you. I want to know what's doing. Right? Sit down. Now you have no more work. I paid for it. Right? In other words, you don't have to do anything to do. You have the time right now. I'm paying for it. And what do some people do? They want to take a nap. Right? Shabbat Shabbaton Hashem. This day belongs to Hashem. He paid for it. He made it for you. He gave it to you. For what reason? Because He wants to spend time with you. A whole week, you're busy. You don't think of Him, therefore. And He doesn't hear any news from you. He wants to hear from you. When is that time? On Shabbat. So Shabbat, Shabbaton Hashem. That day belongs to Hashem. We have to give it to Him. We have to spend it with Him. That is the idea of it. Alright. In the building of the Mishkan, what we find is something very interesting. Everybody contributed, even the women. You don't see that in Mahtzit shekel. In the giving of the Mahtzit shekel, the half a coin, it says the age of there was 20 and above. Not everybody participated in Mahtzit shekel. In the Mishkan, everybody participated. What's the reason for participating in the building of the tabernacle? Because the Mishkan was to repair the avon of the egel, of the golden calf. Everybody, unfortunately, took part in that sin of the golden calf. And as a result of that, there's a certain arvut. Arvut means that people are, it's like a co-signer. In other words, we're all connected. We're all responsible for each other. So everybody was involved. Everybody was responsible for each other. We can't, the same over here with the Mishkan. Everybody is responsible. Everybody has to have a share, a part of the rebuilding of the building of the Mishkan, in order to be mechaper on the egel. That is a very important point. The point of arvut, that even though a couple people sin, everybody suffers. And it's like the famous mashal. It's the famous parable of a boat with people in the boat. And there's one guy who's at the end of the boat drilling a hole. And people are yelling at him. Why are you drilling a hole? What do you care? It's none of your business. I'm drilling underneath my seat, not underneath your seat. Does that make any sense? I'm drilling under my seat. Don't butt into my business. It's my seat, not yours. Yeah, but it's our boat. We're all going to drown. Understand? Am Yisrael is connected. If one finger hurts, the whole body feels it. When one Jew gets killed, we all feel it, right? Because we're all one body, all one family, and we're all responsible for each other. There is a certain collectivity over here. The reward is for everybody, and the punishment is unfortunately also spread out amongst everybody. A nation as a whole that is involved in every respect, in the good and in the bad, and one cannot ignore it. Whether you like it or not, you're involved. So the building of the Mishkan, which was to atone for the egel, everybody needed to be involved. Some more and some less. That's okay. But everybody needs to have a chelik, including the women. Later on in Parashat Vayakhel, we see that the Torah again repeats the Yehus, the lineage of the master creator or architect and engineer of the Mishkan. Who was that? Bezalel. Vayomer Moshe b'nei Yisrael re'u Kara Hashem b'Shem Bezalel ben Uri ben Hur Matei Yehuda. Not only does he mention his name, he mentions his whole lineage, who his father and grandfather was, which tribe he comes from. Why so much emphasis? So the Midrash brings down, it comes to teach us that Bezalel not only comes from a very special family. Who was his grandfather? Hur. Who was Hur? He gave his life. During the Maaseh Egel, he tried to stop them. Hur tried to stop them.
Was he the husband of Midian?
Right. He tried to stop them and started giving them musar, started giving them a speech. You're wrong. This is a terrible thing. How dare you do something? Moshe is going to come soon. And he tried to prevent it, stop them, to interfere with what they were doing. In other words, he stood up against the Erev Rav and he killed it. There are people like that. Yeah. So because of his Mesirut Nefesh, he had Mesirut Nefesh. He was willing to sacrifice his life for something good. Hashem rewards him. That from him will come out a grandchild who will be in charge, will be the main individual responsible for building the tabernacle, the Mishkan. In other words, there was a schut here. In other words, the Torah is telling us why Bezalel of all people. Okay, Bezalel was a nice guy. He was smart. But why him more than anybody else? He still needed an explanation. Because he was a grandson of Hur. So Hashem repays. Nothing goes unrewarded. This is also rewarded. There's some reward in this lifetime. That is the significance of Mesirut Nefesh. Mesirut Nefesh means one who is willing to give his life. Willing to give his life for Am Yisrael, for the mitzvot. That's a tremendous zechut. And if he does not live long enough to benefit from that reward, then it lasts for future generations to come too. Right? We are living on the merits of our forefathers perhaps in Spain or elsewhere, who are willing to give their lives for the sanctity of the Shabbat, not to transgress any avon, right? To remain Jewish despite the torture, despite the suffering. That's a tremendous zechut, and that zechut, of course, HaKadosh Baruch Hu reserves it for future generations as well. All right, in the Aron, towards the end of Parashat Vayakhel, it doesn't say Ve'asita. By the Aron it says Ve'asu. We should do. Everybody together. Why? So the rabbis tell us like this: there are several crowns: the crown of Kehuna, the crown of Malchut, the crown of Torah. I said that. That's the crown of Torah, of Malchut,
and Kehuna.
and Kehuna. Right. Kehuna, the crown of priesthood, only belongs to Shevet Levi. Crown of Malchut, of kingship, belongs only to the tribe of Yehuda. Who does the crown of Torah belong to? Everybody. The Asu. Everybody partakes in the building of the Aron. In other words, this is something that belongs to everybody, not just to one particular tribe. Nobody should therefore ever say, my father was not a rabbi, therefore I will never be a rabbi. Or the other way around, because my father was a rabbi, I don't have to worry, I don't have to learn that much, I will be automatically a big man, a big Talmid Chacham. No, it's not automatic. The Torah does not come down the Yerusha. The Torah is a Morasha. Morasha means it's a heritage. No, it's a heritage for all of us. It belongs to all of us. But it's not inherited from father to son. If the father was a big learned person, doesn't mean his son will be. You have to do it on your own. You don't inherit it from your father. You have to learn it on your own. But it's a morasha, means that it belongs to all of us. It doesn't belong to anybody in particular. There is no, what's the word for it? Monopoly over the Torah. It belongs to everybody. Yeah. The Midrash says that is why Torah is also compared to wine. Whoever is thirsty should go to water. Why is the Torah compared to water? Because water, everybody is entitled to water. In other words, if somebody is thirsty, he should not be charged for water. In other words, it's something that should be given for free. The Torah should be given for free. Another reason why it's compared to water is because when you are thirsty, you're not embarrassed to ask for water, for a drink. A person may be shy, embarrassed to ask for other things, but for water, you're not embarrassed. What does that mean? It means that when a person who's 40, 50, 60 years old does not know halacha, Torah, he should not be embarrassed to ask a child who may know Torah. Because it's compared to water. Just like you're not embarrassed if you're thirsty to ask for water, you should not be embarrassed to ask a child, somebody who's younger than you, to learn Torah or to teach you halacha. Okay, and the last item in Parashat Vayakhel is the kiyor, which I spoke about in Shabbat. The kiyor was a vessel, a large vessel where the Kohanim would wash their hands and feet from. Right? It had like faucets all around, and it was made from copper, and it was made from the mirrors of the women. The women very much contributed to the building of the kiyor. It was a keli that was there in the Mishkan. And this was a problem for Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu did not like the idea that the women should contribute their mirrors, because the mirror is an item that brings the Yetzer Hara, the evil instinct. You look at it, you dress up, you know, it's not used for good things, mirror. So Moshe hesitated. Hashem says, no, I dafka want you to accept the mirrors from the women. These mirrors have a very big zechut. What was the zechut? Because when the Jews were in Egypt, the men were very depressed and discouraged. Why should we get married? Why should we have relationships? Why should we have children? The children are going to be killed. If they're not killed, they're going to be slaves. What should we do this for? Why should we continue to reproduce? So what happened at the end of the day, when these men were tired, the women would go out in the fields and would bring them food, take care of them. And after the husbands relaxed a little bit, they would take out their mirrors. They would both look at the mirror, and the woman would say, I'm more beautiful than you are. In other words, they would entice them. In other words, they would make talk and conversation, intimate kind of conversations, by use of the mirrors. So by use of these mirrors, they were able to get their husbands to be with them. And as a result, many, many children were born. As a result of these actions. That is the meaning of the pasuk, Tahat at-tafuah aradita, underneath the apple tree. That is where it happened. Where the women would take their husbands, and they would give them encouragement, and they will become pregnant. Yeah, exactly. They will become pregnant with this flesh. Hashem says, I want this in the kior. These mirrors that the women use to have all these children has a tremendous zechut, and I want that in the Mishkan. So that was placed into the kior as well. Okay, Parashat Pekudei. In Parashat Pekudei you have an accounting of how much was spent, how much silver was spent to build the Mishkan. That's very unusual, because we have a klal, shekol davar hasamui min ha'ain yesh bo bracha. Only something which is not disclosed has blessing. It's always not a good idea to disclose to someone how much you spend on this, how much something cost, how much money you made. It has no bracha if you do. Or at least it could be affected. It could get an ain hara, an evil eye. An evil eye can affect those things that are disclosed and on the open. So it depends. You can say it's none of your business. You can say it's none of your business. Do I ask you? It depends. People have different answers. It depends how courageous you are.
I cover my expenses.
Yeah. Baruch Hashem, I can pay the bills. They get the message very quickly. Unless it's somebody very close to you, then of course there's nothing for you to fear. But even then, you have to be careful, because in some cultures, even the relatives have a terrible evil eye.
They say it comes more from the relative than from the station.
Sometimes. I don't want to say names now, but among certain cultures, even the relatives have an evil eye. So you have to know,
No, you can say culture.
Yeah. Later. But anyway, there are certain cultures and certain groups where people are much more into knowing everything and curious about everything. And it's best to not disclose it.
Talk about Jewish people.
Yeah. No, don't lie. You're not allowed to lie. But you're allowed to say something which is unclear and vague if you want.
Cover my expenses.
I don't have exactly the figure right now. I don't remember. It depends on what the circumstance is. How much did you make last year?
It's not too basic. You might ask how much you make.
Well, I said, whatever Hashem gave me, that's what I made. That's how I.
You have people like that.
Yeah. I just push them off. I just tell people. My answer to most people is it's not important.
They ask me how much you pay everything.
I tell them, depending on the question. If they ask me about a couch, all right, a couple $100. Fine. Where did you get it though? I'll help you, especially if they're shopping for it. But if it's something much more sensitive, lo chashuv. Doesn't matter. I didn't insult them, and I didn't disclose it. Yeah. So anyway, so that's the klal, that's the rule. That kol davar she'asamui min ha'ain, if it's not disclosed, it's covered from the eye. That has beracha. If that's the case, then why over here, Parashat Pekudei, the Torah is disclosing everything, all the amount of money that was spent on the Mishkan. So first of all, this is a davar shebikdusha. This is something holy. We don't have to be concerned about the ain hara over here so much. That's first of all. It's a mitzvah. But there's something else here. There was a need to give a reckoning, an accounting of how much was spent, because there was a lot of individuals, unfortunately, who suspected that there was cheating and corruption. Moshe stole money, he pocketed some of the silver. That's what they thought. So he had to give a reckoning. Exactly, this is how much I received, and this is how much I spent. And every penny was accounted for. Where it went. What did they do with the silver? So there should not be any chashadot, any suspicions that there was gezel involved in it. What? Why? The Parashat Pekudei. Right? So that is another explanation of why there's an account, why there's a cheshbon over here. Another explanation is because in reality the whole idea of giving this money is to be mechaper, to atone for the eged. So the Torah therefore wants to emphasize that this is the money or the silver that is being used to be mechaper. Just like gold was used for something bad, now we're being mechaper also with gold and silver and copper, but for something good. In other words, we want to stop the accusation, so we want to show how the Jews did take their gold and silver and copper and now invested it in something good. Okay. Another idea that is very interesting is the word Pekudei itself. Pekudei means to count. But there's other words that could have been used to count. Why does the Torah use the word Pekudei? What's the shoresh, the root of this word? The root of the word is tafkid, a role. A role. Every human being has a tafkid, has a role. What one can do, the other one cannot do. Everyone, therefore, is special. Hashem needs everybody here. Right? As I explained in the past, animals don't have a unique role necessarily. Hashem created them to serve mankind. All of nature serves mankind. The sun just does one thing. It does it all the time. The moon. So everything has a purpose and everything has a role. But every human being, not just the human race, but every human being amongst the human race is unique, that he has a role that nobody else has. Same thing with husband and wife. The Torah says, Hashem says, I will make him an ezer kenegdo. I will give him a woman who will help him in an area where he cannot do it on his own. If a man is cursed to make a living, right? You have to swear to make a living. Who's going to take care of his kids? Who's going to take care of everything else? Who's going to feed him? Who's going to prepare the food for him? He comes home late. Hashem says, I will prepare you a woman who will complement you, who will fill in where you are lacking. And you will complement her. You will fill in where she's lacking. She will need stability. She will need somebody who can take care of her. Somebody that she feels loves her. Women need that. That's what they need. The men don't have the exact needs that the women have. They're two different creatures. But the two are important together as a whole unit. They are stronger than if they would be by themselves. A human being who's not married is therefore half. He has half potential. He's not maximizing his full potential because he doesn't have that extra help. And it's not just a secretary. A woman, especially if he's lucky and he gets his real soulmate, complements the man in many important ways. If he's nervous, she's calm, or the other way around. In other words, Hashem makes sure, if it's the true soulmate, that the two will complement each other, not exactly opposite. Those complementing, because if one is stingy and one is a big spender, that's opposite, and that's no good. Right? It has to complement each other. In other words, the one needs the other. One has what the other one is lacking. So the same thing over here. The Torah uses the word Pekudei because every Jew has a role. Every Jew is important. And everybody has something to contribute to this world. And that is why everybody contributed to Mishkan too. That is, by the way, the meaning of the pasuk, Hashem mitzadei gaber konanu. Hashem knows of an individual. One does not know where he will end up living. For example, once in a while we'll decide to take this street instead of this street to work. Why did we decide to take this street, this route instead of that route? Hashem put it into our mind for whatever reason. Then we find out there was a big accident. Yeah. Why did I think of it? Hashem put it in our... Hashem mitzadei gaber konanu. Hashem prepares the ways of every individual. Because every individual has a particular purpose. And he may not know what that purpose is. Subconsciously, he's somehow aware over time by doing what he's doing for so many years. But in the beginning, you can't plan. Nobody knows where he's going to be and what he's going to do. Hashem leads him, or as the Rabbi tells in the Gemara, one's feet take him to where he needs to be. And that is very true in Zivug. You can have a girl from New Zealand, and you can have a boy from Finland, and they will meet in Jakarta, Indonesia. And they're soulmates. They both decided at the same time to go to Jakarta. Why? This one on business, and this one because she wanted to see the islands. And they met at the same hotel. That's it. Right. We can never plan something like this. We don't have all that knowledge of who is the soulmate, or where to go, at what time to go. Everything has to be perfect for it to work out. Right? Okay, now they stay at the same hotel, but who made them talk to each other? He doesn't even know she's Jewish. A girl doesn't have a kippah. If the boy has a kippah, at least the woman can recognize he's Jewish. She can strike up a conversation. So how did it happen? He bumped into her in the elevator. Oh, where are you from? And where are you from? Huh? And that's how conversation. Oh, that's nice. You single? Of course. So am I. Anyway, that's how things happen. Hashem has many, many ways, either through shatchanim, through other individuals, or they bump into each other. A human being does not know where he will end up. There was once a rabbi who was walking the street, and the king stops him, and he asks the rabbi, where are you going? So the rabbi says, I don't know. So the king says, that's chutzpah. What do you mean you don't know? You're going and you don't know where you're going? Yes, I don't know where I'm going. And the king was testing him. So he was very upset at the rabbi's answer and he put him in jail. You don't answer the king like that. When he comes to the jail, He asks the rabbi, now tell me the truth. Why did you tell me such a silly answer that you don't know where you're going? He says, you see, I really intended to go to the Bet HaKnesset, and I landed in jail. Did I know where I was going? See? Because he knew that he was a smart man. He knew that the king was up to this kind of tricks. Because if the rabbi would say he's going there, he would take him away from there, right? So it was to prove the same point that man does not know where he's going. And the rabbi was right. And of course he let it out later. The point is, we don't know. We all have a tafkid, a role, a unique role of what we need to do and where we need to be. And only Hashem knows that. And He takes us to the place we need to be and to the thing that we need to do. And sometimes what we do is a tikkun, is an atonement for a previous gilgul. Right? One is involved tremendously with tzedakah, with charity, that helps out of other people. Hashem gave him the means. He made him find oil in his backyard. All of a sudden, overnight, he became rich. What for? Hashem is probably giving him the means to do tzedakah v'chesed, not only to test him, but perhaps this will be a way for him to fix. Maybe in the previous reincarnation he was stingy. Now I'm going to give you the money. It's going to be a challenge. You see, if Hashem doesn't give the person a lot of money, it's always a challenge to give tzedakah. People don't have it easy. They don't like to part with their money. But now that He gives them a lot, that is the challenge. If he's able to overcome that challenge, then that he has made his tikkun. Tikkun doesn't come easy. It has to come with a challenge. But Hashem will enable him. He will show him the way. He will give him the money in order to achieve that tikkun. So everybody has a tafkid. That is the meaning of Pekudei Mishkan. Everybody is involved here because everybody has a role. Every human being has a role. Later on in Parashat Pekudei, it says Vayakhel kol avodat Mishkan Ohel Moed Vayasu b'nei Yisrael kechol asher tzivah Hashem Moshe kin'asu. They all did what they were asked to do. They all participated. So this I also mentioned on Shabbat. What is the idea of that the Torah re-emphasizes and repeats that everybody was involved and everybody did, everybody contributed. So the Orach Chaim says as follows, because the question is, how can every Jew fulfill all the 613 commandments? Right? There are some commandments that belong only to Kohanim, but some that only the Leviim do. There are some commandments that you never get to do, even though you are in Israel, like divorcing your wife. It's a commandment to divorce your wife. Only, of course, if you want to part from her. You need to do it the proper way. There's a commandment to slaughter meat, only if you want to eat meat. What if you don't want to eat meat, then you won't have that mitzvah. If you don't want to divorce your wife, you won't have that mitzvah. If you live in a tent, you won't have a mezuzah. You follow me? There are certain mitzvot that only apply if the situation arises. Right? Kan sipor, shiluach haken, with birds, sending off the mother bird. Right? There are certain mitzvot that are very rare today, especially because we have no Bet HaMikdash. So how could one ever do all the mitzvot? So the Orach Chaim says that's the meaning of the pasuk. Vayasu. They all did. Meaning that they all took together as a unit. They all did. In other words, it's all of Am Yisrael building the Mishkan in the same way all of Am Yisrael performing the mitzvot. Together as a unit, they fulfill all the mitzvot. So whether one gave less or one gave more, the fact that he was part of the building of the Mishkan means that he had a chelik in the entire Mishkan. It's his. He can call this his. He can put even a plaque on it. I built it. I helped build it. So all of Am Yisrael fulfills all the Torah by doing it all together. That is the meaning of Vayasu. By the way, another important point that applies to the Mishkan of why each one had a chelik, why Hashem asked each one to contribute, is because when you contribute to something, that something becomes important in your eyes. Because it becomes a part of you. I helped build it. Hashem therefore wanted everybody to give. A lot of people could have given most of it on their own. They had enough money. Hashem says, no, I want everybody to give. I don't want to just take this one's money, this one's money. As I told you the story once of a rabbi who was asked to give charity. He gave them 290 out of 300. He needed 300 golden coins. He gave 290. Why don't you give us all of it? Why are you making us go fetch the other 10? I don't want the entire mitzvah for myself. The mitzvah belongs to all of Am Yisrael, for the entire community. They should all have a share in this mitzvah and have a share of the merit of this great mitzvah. Why should I take it all for myself? So Hashem wants everybody to be a part of it, everybody to feel that they should feel that they contributed, And as a result of contributing, they become attached to it. Okay, then we see that Hashem says that I will rest or reside amongst them. That is also emphasized and stressed several times. What for? Because Hashem noticed that the Jewish people were remorseful. They regretted what they did with the Egel, and they, with great enthusiasm, with a lot of excitement, decided to go ahead and build the Mishkan. So Hashem says, don't worry about it, I will be with you, even the Tumatam, even if they are unclean, I will still be with them. What for? Why does Hashem have to say this for? Because the time the Jewish people did the Egel, the Maaseh Egel, there was a Kitrug. And not only was there a Kitrug, an accusation, the nations of the world said God has abandoned them. He's no longer their patron.
Muslims.
Right, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. He has abandoned them. He no longer cares for them. And that is what the Christians have said throughout history too. They are doomed. They are destined to suffer. Therefore, they had a very big theological problem in reconciling the state of Israel with what they were teaching. And until today, they don't recognize, therefore. It was a big problem. The Jews are meant to suffer. This all comes from the Chet HaEged. From that time on. The Muslims too. They're meant to suffer, the Jews. What does Hashem do? No. V'shachanti b'tocham, I will reside amongst you. Build me the Mishkan. What does the Mishkan show? So the rabbis tell us as follows. Mashal lema davar domeh. What is this compared to? To a husband and wife who got married, who were very much in love. Very much. But one day the husband became very, very upset at his wife and he left the house. And what happened then? All the neighbors started talking. Oh, he'll never come back to you. You'll see. He doesn't like you anymore. He left you. He won't see you anymore. Terrible. Neighbors, they have nothing better to do. What happened? One day they see the husband coming back. He just came to visit, maybe to take some of his personal items with him. He's not staying. No. A few days go by, he's still there. And sure enough, after a couple of days, not only do they see him still there, they also start smelling good smells coming out of the samim from the house. There's a lot of good things, a lot of good smell, the cooking and the perfume. Oh, now they made up. That's the conclusion that the neighbors reached. This is a siman. Husband and wife made up. Good smell, they're back together, there's the samim, perfume, food.
It's love.
Right. That means that they're back together. As soon as the Goyim saw the building of the Mishkan, they saw Kadosh Baruch Hu coming back in. They saw the Reach HaKetoret, the Besamim, the Mizbeach HaZahah. They saw all the Korbanot, all of it going upstairs. They realized Hashem is back with them. I just heard that the Arabs were very, very afraid. I don't know how true it is, but at least I heard that there was water coming up from the Temple Mount in that area.
When? A
couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Why were they afraid? Because that is a siman that Mashiach is coming to the Jews. They have some tradition, those who know about it, that water will come out from that place. And we know about it because the prophecy writes about that. One of the Nevi'im speaks about water in that particular, that general area.
Is there going to be a river?
What?
This water coming out. Is there going to be a river?
Yeah, there's going to be a big river. Right. It's going to extend itself all the way.
Underground.
No, you will be able to see it. Yeah. Anyway, the prophecy speaks about it. So the Arabs were concerned about this. That's what I heard. I don't know how true it was, whether there was some water or no water. But rumors spread quickly, and at least we were aware that they are concerned, that they are afraid about this. Because what would this mean? It would mean that Hashem is coming back, and Mashiach is coming, that the Jewish people will be on top again. What they don't realize, and that they're blind to see, is that we already gained ground. The fact that so many Jews are coming back to Eretz Israel, the fact that after so many years in the Galut and the diaspora, the Jewish state is being rebuilt, right? And the land is giving its fruit. All of the prophecies are coming true. So there's a lot of Christians, of course, who are not blind, who carefully follow what they call the scripture, and they can see all of this, and they're not only seeing this, they help too. Their help, of course, is to make things happen quicker, because they're expecting somebody else to come too. That is their idea.
Yeah.
On the other hand, there are some who really mean it, who can see The words of the prophets come true, and they're obviously paying attention. I wish the Jews would pay as much attention as the Christians. Some are, and some are not. That is why the rabbis tell us, in the Gemara, that Mashiach will come be'esech hadat. The Esech hadat means that people will not be aware of it. The three things that come all of a sudden, that you're not concentrated, you're not focused on it. Akitzat hakarav, the fight of the scorpion. Mitziah, you find something in the street, you find $100, you weren't thinking about it before, right? No, we're going to find. All of a sudden you see it. And Mashiach. Boom. These three things happen all of a sudden. Mashiach is going to come all of a sudden, even before CNN. We will already hear about it. It will be Esech hadat. What does Esech hadat mean? You will be working, you will be preoccupied, and all of a sudden you will find out. So I once asked a question, and I'll repeat it again Zat Hashem Sunday when we show the video. Why does Mashiach come to Esech hadat? We have so many simanim, we have so many signs in the prophets, in the Gemara, in the Zohar, in the Midrash, everywhere of what to expect and anticipate before Mashiach comes. So why should it be a surprise? Why should it? Once we start seeing him, we should expect. Let's just follow the simanim. What's the answer? People are not even paying attention to the simanim. They're not reading about it. If people would pay attention to that, this is a siman, that at the turn of the century there was between 8,000 and 10,000 Jews in Israel, and now there's 5 million. 5 million is a third of known Jewry in the world, besides the 10 tribes. That is a tremendous thing. In other words, we are seeing progressively the many stages and facets of the Geulah, the redemption. Before our own eyes, we're witnesses. This is a generation.
But we don't pay attention.
We don't pay attention. We're sleeping.
This little country is exporting food all over the world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Hashem says in the Mishkan, Ani Hashem Hashochem b'tocham afilu betumatam. Even when they're unclean, I will be with them.
Like now.
Right. Despite the fact that unfortunately a great number of Jews are distant from Judaism, there's a lot of Torah. We see at the same time the miracles. A father loves his child much more than a child loves his father, believe it or not. And that devotion will always be there. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has promised that He will never abandon us. But from time to time, He needs to wake us up. And that's what happens, when there's, unfortunately, a slap here, a slap there. But He means it for our own good. He doesn't hate us, Chas v'shalom. But the Goyim misunderstood it. When will they understand it? When Mashiach will come. Then, everybody will understand what the meaning of all of this was. That it wasn't that He abandoned them, it was only that He was trying to correct them. He was trying to remind them, He was trying to awaken. That's all it is. Right? Just open up a little door. I want to come in. Right? Let me in, Hashem says. Open up a small opening. But you make a small effort to come back to Hashem, Hashem will open up the doors wide open. He wants to see us that we make an effort. I saw another midrash, I think it's, or another parable that says like this, with the Chet HaEgel. There was once a king who had a very close advisor, and he was told by some liars, some people who were jealous of this advisor, that this advisor went out and had an affair with the princess. That makes everybody upset. The more so the king. Princess, he took advantage that he's so close to me. But the king investigated, he didn't believe it right away, and that's always the best thing to do when you hear a rumor. Don't believe it, especially when it comes from the women. It's always exaggerated and elaborated, and it's never exactly that way. Right? They start off with something big, and eventually it's something so small and not significant. Always investigate and always give people the benefit of the doubt. Don't rush to conclusions. Never. Right? In other words, when people who are hurried, the hurriedness, and that, what's the word for it? Not hurriedness. People who are
jump to conclusions.
Not jump to conclusions. They're very not rash and impulsive. I was looking for. That comes from the Satan. Don't rush. You make mistakes. So the Melech, the king, investigated, and he found that of course it wasn't true. It never happened. People make. There's another saying in English. They make
a mountain out of a molehill.
A mountain out of a molehill. Yeah. Maybe he was talking to her. Here, by themselves in a room, and people, what did he talk about? He was talking about, something about the palace.
The father.
Or whatever, yeah. Affair. There's already an affair. Chas v'shalom. Anyway, he investigated, it's not true, but how is he going to take it out from the minds of the people who still believe it? People still believe it. So what do? He made a big party. He made a big party, he invited everybody, all the people who, of course, were jealous and who were spreading the rumor, and he sat that advisor next to him. Oh, the advisor is sitting next to the king, that means he made up with him, that means it never happened. It couldn't be. He would have hanged him, right? Put him away. He also invited him, and he also had him sit next to him. Siman, that he made up, because it's not true. V'shachanti b'tocham. Those who resides amongst us. Hashem forgave us for what happened. He did not abandon us. He sits together with us. That is proof to the Goyim that he's never abandoned us, that he's still with us.
Also, he continued with the Manti Kilometers, Israel.
Yeah, of course. He was yeah. Alright. In the Mishkan, you will notice, as I said before, that everybody was involved, including the women. In all types of functions. What is this for? The Torah emphasizes that everybody was involved and everybody had a job to teach us that even if there is a het, even if Chas v'Shalom something was done wrong, yesh tshuva, yesh tikkun to that het, it can be repaired. The Torah is letting us know that a Jew should never despair, should never give up hope, that he's so distant, he's so bad, he did such a terrible crime. The golden calf was a terrible thing, we're still suffering it today from that. Nevertheless, Hashem says there is a way to repair, and I'm giving everybody a job. Everybody's going to fix it. Everybody's going to have something to contribute to the Mishkan, including the woman. To show us and to remind us that even though a person has come down in a spiritual level, even though he has committed an avon, even though he has become distant from his Creator, he can come back. And that Hashem will be speaking about next week when we start Vayikra and the Korbanot. The root of the word Korban means litkaref, to come close. By bringing an animal, which all it is symbolic. Symbolic, Hashem does not need the food, does not need the animal. But by bringing the animal, by showing remorse, by reminding yourself that you did an animalistic act, right? This whole idea of remorse and vidui, confession, helps bring a Jew back to his Creator. So the same thing over here. Hashem is telling Am Yisrael, don't worry, life goes on, right? Don't sink into depression, right? Fix it. You make a mistake, make sure you don't repeat it again. That's all. The worst thing is to repeat the same mistake. The people make a mistake, we're only human, we're only frail. We're tempted, we can fall. That can happen to any good Jew, even the biggest rabbis. As the rabbi tells in the Gemara, why did David fall with Bathsheba? Not that it was a big sin. Hashem made it so. Hashem enabled him to fall into that trap. Why? Leorot le'acharim tshuva. Just to teach other people that there is tshuva. That even David HaMelech, who fell, or who did something which he didn't exactly fall, he did something which was not proper, okay? But on his level it was not right. Nevertheless, he did it, but he did teshuvah, and it was accepted. And it was accepted. So even if one were to do something very, very serious, something very terrible, or he did many things that were not right, not just one, there is a way to fix it. That is what the rabbis tell us elsewhere. If you have done many packages and bundles of sins, okay, do kenegdan, fix it by doing bundles and bundles of mitzvot to counter it, to neutralize it. Alright, one more point over here in Parashat Pekudei. The Torah goes into great detail of how much money was spent, Zahav, Chesed, and Nechoshet, gold, silver, and copper, in constructing the Mishkan. What for? So there's several ideas here, but one idea I'll share with you, and that is that the Torah is telling us, when it comes to doing something holy, building a Bet HaKnesset, dedicating something for a mitzvah, for Torah, don't make hashmonot. Don't start figuring how much is it going to cost me. Give your money. Invest your money in things that are tushah, because these things remain forever. When it comes to buying a car, then start making hashmonot. How much do I really need to spend so much? All I need a car is to take me to work. All I need is 4 wheels. No, people have to have a Lexus. They have to have the best. They have to spend $45,000. What for? Chavad. The same car for $15,000, $18,000 made by Japan. In Japan. Right? Good mileage will take you to the same destination for less. Right? So when it comes to materialistic objects, make a lot of cheshbonot. That's when you should make cheshbonot. But when it comes to Binyat Bet HaMikdash, when it comes to erecting the Mishkan, when it comes to buying a Sefer Torah, right? When it comes to dedicating mitzvot, things that we take with us even after we depart from this world, right? That don't make as many hashbonot. Of course, you don't want to become poor from this. You have to figure out how much you can afford. You have to approximately calculate, but don't be stingy about it. Don't economize. When it comes to something good, when a Jew has a kavanah tovah, the Kabbalah says, in Hashemayim they give him sometimes a moment of excitement. Immediately he should take advantage of it and do something with it. Because that moment of excitement may not come back the next hour or the next day. If a Jew is all of a sudden excited to do something good, that is because in Hashemayim rihamu alav, they have pity on him, and they're giving him that excitement, he should use it for something good. Kol sheken, the more so, Hashem has also given one the means, the money, or the tools, or the talent to do something good, he should use it for good things. People have many opportunities to do good and bad. We have free will. And sometimes we have the means, whether it's a beautiful voice, don't use it in Hollywood. Use it as a chazan. Right? There's a lot of tools and a lot of things that we have that we can use for good or for bad. That is a challenge that we have every day of our lives. The building of the Mishkan is therefore an example of how a Jew should spend his money for good things, for Torah and for mitzvot.